Hi, I'm Frank from the Watchdog team, and today we're taking a long, hard look at another project that set off every internal alarm in our Better lab. The name on the landing page is Wave Line Innovations. The domain is wavelinefin.com, and on the surface it's dressed like the kind of modern fintech brand that promises everything. 5,000 trading instruments, top tier liquidity, zero commissions, and an ultra-high leverage window. It sounds impressive, seductive even, until you start asking simple, verifiable questions. When glossy graphics replace paperwork and hype replaces regulation, you should pause. That's exactly what we did. From the first scroll, it was obvious this was not your run-of-the-mill regulated brokerage. The website feels assembled from a marketing kit. Big promises, clean imagery, buzzwords stacked on buzzwords. But the tiny print you rely on to judge trustworthiness is thin or missing. The domain is extremely new, registered in late June, and Hoy's data is anonymous. There are no audited reports, no visible compliance pages that point to a registry entry, and the traffic numbers this site boasts don't match independently verifiable metrics. That mismatch between claim and evidence is a classical starter pistol for scam patterns. The firm's legal story is equally shaky. The site lists an address in Dubai and flashes a license number that, on cursory inspection, doesn't line up with any public regulator records. Any legitimate broker will proudly display regulator details and make it trivial to verify them. Waveline Innovations instead posts a badge-like claim and invites you to trust it without a paper trail. That's not transparency, it's theatricality. When we attempted to reconcile the claimed SISEC number with the regulator's public register, it didn't check out. If a license is invoked, it must be verifiable through the regulator's own channels. Anything else is a red flag, not reassurance. Another immediate concern is the promised trading infrastructure. Waveline Innovations claims to run a bespoke Spectrum Trade Pro platform, but the site provides no technical documentation, no partner liquidity providers, no evidence of integration with well-known bridges or market makers. The charts and data on screen look generic, the sort of visual you can embed from public feeds, rather than a live, audited trading environment. For traders, execution transparency is crucial. Where do orders go? Who provides pricing? How is slippage handled? On this site, those basic questions are answered with slogans, not specifics. Deposits and withdrawals are where the marketing veneer often cracks and the real risk becomes personal. Waveline Innovations requires a relatively high minimum deposit and advertises a range of funding methods, but it offers almost no concrete information about processing times, fees, or the exact legal pathway your money takes. Reports we've seen from people who engaged with similarly set up operations follow a familiar script. First a smooth deposit and encouraging messages from an account manager, then simulated gains that build confidence. Finally, a withdrawal request that triggers unexpected requirements, additional compliance, fees, odd swift confirmations, or indefinite delays. Those tactics are not rare anomalies. They're time-tested levers used to extract more funds or to buy time until a site disappears. There's also serious privacy and data risk here. The registration process on wavelinefin.com is purposefully light, lowering the barrier to entry and making sign-up frictionless. That's good for conversion, but not for safety. The platform delays asking for detailed identity and banking documentation until later, often when the trader tries to withdraw. At that point, the operator suddenly needs an exhaustive set of documents, including full bank routing details and swift confirmations. Information that can be abused if it lands in the wrong hands. Asking for sensitive data with no clear legal entity and no verifiable custody arrangements is a recipe for identity theft and deeper financial harm. We also examine the human signals. Testimonials and community chatter can be helpful, but in this case the noise is worrying. A scattering of copy-pasted success stories. On the website, very few independent reviews, and pockets of critical comments on forums and social platforms. The pattern we observed, small withdrawals permitted early on to build credibility followed by stalling and evasions, repeats across many reports tied to similar operators. When you see that pattern emerge, treat it as data, not drama. Multiple consistent reports from independent users are a meaningful warning sign. What should a cautious person do when encountering a site like this? First, demand evidence, ask for regulator registration, and then go check the regulator's website yourself. Ask for a legal entity name and company registry entry you can verify. Ask where client funds are held, what segregation arrangements exist, and which bank handles custody. If answers are evasive, treat that as a decisive signal. If you have already funded an account, stop deposits immediately. Archive every communication and payment receipt, and contact your bank to explore chargeback or cancellation options. Report the situation to your local regulator and law enforcement. The sooner you act, the greater the chance of mitigating loss. Emotionally, these situations are hard. The rhythm of online pitches, friendly calls, tailored strategies, and the occasional small payout is engineered to erode skepticism. It's human to want to believe and to want quick wins, but the best protection is a simple reflex: verify before you trust. Real brokers welcome scrutiny because they are accountable. They publish regulator numbers, they provide audited custody confirmations, and they maintain offices or registries you can check. Entities that avoid such scrutiny are hiding something, and it's almost never in your interest. Wave Line Innovations packages itself as a modern full-service firm. In reality, it presents a stack of concerning indicators: a brand new anonymous domain, unverifiable licensing claims, opaque trading infrastructure, inconsistent transaction records in client panels, and practices around withdrawals that echo known extractive schemes. None of these observations is, on its own, a definitive legal finding, but taken together they form a coherent pattern that any prudent investor should treat as a stop sign. Protecting your capital starts with curiosity and ends with caution. If a platform cannot demonstrate a verifiable, regulated backbone, it is not worth the risk of opening an account. If you have money tied up in Wave Line Innovations, act now. Document everything, contact your payment provider, and raise the alarm with regulators. If you're simply researching where to trade next, use this as a checklist. Insist on name regulators, name banks, name liquidity partners, and name people you can find on LinkedIn and corporate registers. The difference between a trusted institution and a slick mirage is the paper trail, and that paper is usually easy to check. At the end of the day, flashy sites and big promises are the bait. Fat, verifiable documentation and transparent practices are the hook. Keep your eyes on the latter and your hands off the former until they clear the bar. Lost money with a broker? Find out how to get it back. Contact us at watchdogonline.eproton.me. Leave your name and phone number so we can get back to you. The Watchdog Online team stands guard over your safety. Together we will make the internet better.